Hey, one more thing before you go. What happens when a man tries to leave his past behind only to be pulled back into a world of danger? Levin Cade was ready to live a quiet life, working construction and being a good father. But when a local girl vanished, he's forced to return to the skills that made him a legend in the shadowy world of counterterrorism. Stay tuned. We're going to answer these questions and more when we have a conversation about Jason Statham's latest movie on Prime. I'm your host, Michael Hurst. I'm here with my lovely wife and co host, Diane.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Over the Teacup Sunday with Michael and Diane. Hey, Diane.
Hello, Michael.
We had an interesting day for Father's Day.
Yes.
We got some breakfast. We got some groceries. We got some puppy love.
Yes. Charlie was cuddling
Yes,
today.
got to got to talk to at least one of our kids. Our other one's going to
hmm
call soon.
hmm
So yeah, it was pretty good. Got a nice card from my wife. It
hmm
yeah, it works.
Yeah.
So this is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Hope you had a wonderful day. This goes out to all the fathers out there, whether you are a father, a stepfather, a foster father, a grandfather, or someone is a father figure that is taking the place of something. We all appreciate everyone, each and every one of you, and play an important role. Absolutely, a father does. So happy
Yes.
Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
This week we're taking a look on a working man with Jason Statham, one of our
hmm
favorite action stars.
Yes. I
Uh,
love me some Jason Statham.
yes, I love me some Jason Statham as well. He's like, say that really fast, really, really, really fast 3 times. I dare you.
I love me some Jason. I love me some Jason Statham. I love me some Jason Statham. I love me some Jason Statham.
You
That
achieved
wasn't
it.
that wasn't
Go,
bad. That was pretty
go,
good.
go, go. Jason Statham delivers his signature intensity in this gripping thriller filled with action, suspense, and a fight against corruption that runs deeper than anyone expected. And we're going to break down the plot. We're going to discuss a little stand-up performance and explore whether this movie keeps us on the edge of our seats or leaves something to be desired. Plus, we'll touch on how this film compares to Statham's previous roles and what it adds to the genre. So grab your favorite cup of tea, settle in, and let's uncover what makes a working man tick and whether it's a must-watch for action lovers or not. And yes, it might be a little late because it's been in the theater for a little while. I know it just came to streaming services. We finally got it to be able to rent. They had a Father's Day special for like $6 to rent. So I think it was worth $6.
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth six
It was
bucks.
too.
Yeah.
It wasn't, in my opinion, and I think you agree with me because we were talking about it. It's not. It's not some of his best work,
No. I
but it's not Jason
No, no, no.
fault.
He still did fantastic. It's not my favorite Jason Statham movie. Um, but neither was the Meg. Well, Meg 2 was the one I didn't really like. The Meg was good. But um I don't know. I think Beekeeper for me is just I love the Beekeeper. I love the
Well,
Beekeeper.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, he's
But
got the other ones, all of his other ones. I know he's been in the Fast and Furious, but at the same
right.
time, he also the list of Jason Statham. I have to be very careful when I say that, so I don't tongue twist it.
Yeah.
The list of his movies is long, and
hmm
he has been a favorite of mine for like years and years and years. So,
Yeah.
and I guess Diane, you got to watch this guy. You just have
I
to watch
know.
this guy.
And
You
it took
know,
me a while because I'm not action movies aren't usually my go-to. So it took me a while, but I'm on the Jason Statham train.
you are on the Jason Statham train.
Yes.
You know,
Woohoo!
we've already given a breakdown for Working Man, so let's talk about the cast a little bit. We just said Jason Statham like I don't know 50 million times, so you all know he's in it.
Yes.
But there's also Jason Fleming. You'll recognize him when you see him. He's one of those kind of actors that's been in a lot of stuff that you'll recognize.
hmm
Marab, and I may mess these names up. I'll tell you. Ninidiz, I'm not even going to try.
Oops.
Ninidize as Yuri. Michael Pena, you guys all know Michael Pena. You'll see him. When you
Yeah.
see him, you'll recognize him. We actually kept going, who is this? I got to look him up real quick because we've been in everything. And he's been in a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
David Harbour. You guys will know David Harbour. He plays Gunny. Gunny Lefferty on here. So you'll recognize him. He's got a huge beard. So you recognize his voice. And then once you realize who it is, then you go, oh, yeah, that's that guy.
Uh, until this moment, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, David Harbour.
I didn't. And when you said David Harbour, I'm like, wait, David Harbour was in this movie? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
It
was
all
a
makes sense
surprise that
now.
was going to pull on you now.
That was it.
So, yeah.
You did.
So, here's the thing. There may be a lot of you that have already watched this movie, so we're just kind of, rehashing stuff. If you haven't watched this movie, we'll give you a little bit of tidbits and things like that. We try not to be spoilers. But if you haven't watched it, I would say for the $6 or wait till it comes out for free is I think an option.
Yeah.
It was directed by David Ayer. And he's been an action guy for many moon. He's done several of Jason's movies as well as the Fast and Furious and some other well-known action movies that you would recognize. The
Now
book is
I'm sorry, you said directed by, I thought when we were watching it, you mentioned that he wrote it.
he did. He wrote it. He wrote it as well
Um,
as
oh, I
directed
didn't
it.
know he directed it too. Okay.
It's based on a book written by Chuck Dixon and then adapted by Sylvester Stallone and then again written. Or the writing thing's kind of a unique, weird thing. If you know anything about the screenwriting world, then the way it is, the way you see it in the credits is typically how it's done. So it was adapted by Sylvester Stallone. So he wrote the first draft, and then David Ayer wrote the second draft, and that's the one that you see. So if
Right.
it was not written by Sylvester Stallone and David Ayer, it was written by Sylvester Stallone first as an adaptation, and then David Ayer kind of finished it and fine tuned it, and then he,
Mhm.
what you see on the screen was David Ayer. So he's used to that action stuff all the way around as a director and as a screenwriter.
Okay.
So, and
Cool.
I think you had mentioned, and you can talk about this. I think you mentioned that it started off a little slow for you.
Well, as we've talked about, I sleep through action stuff.
And
So
Jason
that's my
Statham or
thing.
not, you do it with everything.
Jason Statham or not, I will fall asleep. Um, so I didn't realize I had slept through like kind of a major plot point. So we kept watching it and watching it. We were like more than an hour into it, and I'm like, wait a minute. I am completely lost. I don't know what's going on. And you're like, well, I know you fell asleep here, but where else were you sleeping? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And so you start asking me, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to rewind it again. I don't know.
and
So
and
yeah, it
yeah,
it
yeah.
was it was kind of slow for me in the
But
beginning.
at the same time, here's the thing. The louder the bombs, the louder the guns, the louder the crashes, the harder you sleep, which
Yeah,
is
you're good.
weird.
It's weird.
I mean,
It
most
it
people
it's the almost one of the weirdest things about me, and there's a lot of things. So
most people that watch an action movie in the movie theater, what you see is, and you hear, it's something that you're wide awake, and we've got a surround. We have a Dolby surround sound system in our house, and the environment that we're in, you get the movie theater experience.
yeah.
So the thing of it is that I mean, you fell asleep during Top Gun, and Top Gun
hmm
Maverick, and
hmm
Mission
in the
Impossible.
in the theaters.
Yes, and Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. And then you fell asleep at Top Gun here at home too when we were
Yeah.
showing it to your parents. So, the whole thing of it is, this has nothing to do, her falling asleep has nothing to do with the Jason Statham
No,
in this movie in
no,
particular, because
but I think other people might find the beginning a little slow.
I
Maybe.
found that personally, I felt it was a little slower than typical for what we
hmm
see with his stuff. Usually he gets right into it. So it was a little bit longer. But
hmm
Jason is getting a little older. So
That's
maybe he wants
true.
to take a slower pace.
That's true.
Maybe he wants to work up to it, sort of like
Yeah.
us in the morning, we
Mhm.
I get like me, I amble, just kind of amble out of bed and then I stretch and I got to move and Then I got to get up and make sure I don't get dizzy and fall down, and you know. So it's a process, right? So he's getting a
That's
little
true.
older,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
maybe he's getting tired, kind of a
Could
thing.
be.
But once he gets into the action, he's warmed up. See,
Yeah, and it is good. It's good action.
it is good action. And here's the thing,
Mhm.
it's the old adage that you don't screw with my family.
Right.
And in the I love the what it brings to the table is you don't have to be blood to be family,
Right.
and he'll still kick your ass
Yep.
because you're still family. And I think
Yep.
that's a very important, aspect of it because what happens is,
Mm.
as I mentioned earlier, is he is trying to get away from. He's suffering from PTSD, and I say spoilers, 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 spoilers. I'll tell you right now. So you can shut this off and come back and listen to it later after you watch the movie. But we're going to continue just a little bit here. He suffers from PTSD. He obviously has because he's was military. He was Royal Marine, and which I do have a question about that because he's got American partners. So I don't know
Yeah.
if he worked a joint task force with them because
Hmm.
like a gunny, the character Gunny,
Hmm.
it's a gunnery sergeant. Gunnery sergeant in Marines is the U.S. Marines gunnery sergeant. He's
Right.
American. The DEA agent that he calls, who was on his squad, is an
Hmm.
American. He's got a
Right.
past that is half American, half British in the thing. So he may have
Hmm.
worked a joint task force of some type in regard
Yeah.
to it. So,
And
you're
maybe
kind of
maybe we just missed that. Well, I that was part of the part I was sleeping through, so I definitely missed it.
oh,
But
you definitely missed it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You kept going. Do you remember when they killed this guy? What guy?
Wait, who?
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But basically, what happens is he finds a new family, and the job that he's doing is helping him to get over his PTSD. He's put that life in his past, and then it's brought back. You see right off the bat, it's kind of brought back into play by an incident that takes place, and then that's how you kind of see the family dynamic building within there, which
Yeah.
I appreciate because when you're in the like as a cop, and you know
Hmm.
this, as a cop or in the military, your colleagues become your family. Your family
Hmm.
becomes the police department. Your family becomes your squad. The family becomes your, that you have to rely on them. They've
Right.
got your back. They've got your front. They're there to push you through everything that you can be pushed through. So when you're in that environment, especially in a combat situation or anything high level or high stress, you rely on that. So I won't tell you everything because obviously we don't want to give everything away, but pay attention to the beginning and the opening because what you find is his story, and that story
Yeah.
plays an integral part in how this movie plays out. So from that perspective, I enjoyed it because what it did is allowed him to work through some of that PTSD and understand that even though he was trying to walk away from it, he still kind of belongs to it, and even though he's got a new family, this is
Hmm.
what happens. And again, he goes back to you don't screw with family.
Yeah.
And so, he goes about fighting the Russian mob, and the Russian mob doesn't really know who they're up against.
No, they do not. And there's there's things happening within the Russian mob themselves that are kind of offshoots of things, and um, they're kind of fighting within themselves anyway. So, um,
You see family dynamic. Yeah, it just goes to show you. That's an interesting thing because I talk a lot about on the regular. One more thing before you go, we talk about
mhm,
family dynamics and dysfunction in the family. So here you have Russian mobsters, and you see dysfunction within their
yeah,
organization,
yeah,
within their family,
right.
like we have in our families. And you kind of
Hmm.
go, oh yeah, see there, and
Well,
you have kids that,
I would imagine most mob families have some dysfunction. I mean, they're mobs, like
well, that's also why
you
you
know,
get ones that come out and they say, okay, for this I'll snitch on so and so, and I'll snitch on Uncle Vito if you give me a new life and then a new
right,
wife, new wife, new place to
right,
live, some money, new identification. I'm
mm,
good. Kind of that's you get the same thing. But
yeah,
some of my favorite parts in here was you see an evolution of him working through his PTSD, but you also see an evolution of him understanding and realizing that the family he's got now is
Hmm.
just as good of a family or better than the one he had that he partially lost.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't know better, but just it's
Uh,
he finally allowed himself to realize that he has the support that he needs and didn't realize he had.
I've been seeking.
Yeah.
It's. I wish it would have gone into a little more of his family dynamics, though. Because in the show, and
Mm-hmm.
again, here's another spoiler. In the show, he's got a daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
the daughter's not very old.
She's,
Um,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they were mentioned. I would put her about 10, 10 maybe.
yeah, probably that.
Um,
10,
oh my
12,
gosh, she's so darn cute. And I mean, she's like 18. She's 10 going on 18. She's
10, 20.
so cute.
And yeah, and their dynamics work really well too.
Yeah.
But you don't really see a lot of you don't hear or see a lot of why you know that he's a single father
Right.
anymore until I think it'll I think it should have been delved into just a little bit more than it
A
was.
little
It
bit
was
more.
mentioned. I think, and from
Hmm.
my perspective, I think it was just a
Yeah.
mention or a blip. I think it should have gone a little deeper into that.
Well, there were some weird, I don't know if you'd call them holes or what, but just some weird transitions of time that was like, well, how are we already here? And I guess they felt like it wasn't so important to have certain parts, but maybe they could have at least said 3 days later, here we are 3 days later, instead of just the next scene and boom, and it's like, well, wait a minute, this just happened. Like, and I
Yeah,
guess they feel like we're probably smart enough to figure it out, and we are, but it just some weird transitioning in within it.
time frame transitioning for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
because obviously this all can't take place in one day.
Right.
It takes place over several days, and
Hmm.
you can see that through some of the transitions. But
But
personally,
not a lot.
I think part of it was rushed for
Mm.
some reason. I don't know why, and it's not, and it came out not too long after The Beekeeper, and that might be why, I guess.
Yeah, you're right though. It did seem overall, it did seem kind of rushed. Yeah, there's a rushness to it.
Like, let's take advantage of the success of Beekeeper because Beekeeper was a
Hmm.
phenomenal movie,
Oh, I love Beekeeper.
and it
Love that movie.
did we do one on Beekeeper?
I feel like we did.
If we
We would have
did, we
had to.
have to. I have to go back and
If
look.
I would think we did because we loved it so much. I think we did.
The whole thing of it is, it's sometimes it's a blur. We're closing in on 500 episodes overall. On one more thing before you go.
Hmm.
So within that matrix, sometimes it's hard to keep track of some of our past conversations because
Yeah.
my mind used to be a steel trap. Now it's aluminum.
Or it's just rusting shut.
A little flexible. I just say a little flexible,
A little flexible. Yeah.
just a little bit. Not like an aluminum hat, because as a cop, I dealt with a few people with aluminum hats. So yeah, literal aluminum hats and aluminum all over the
Hmm.
windows and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
hey, aluminum foil. Let me be
Ten
clear.
foil hat. Hmm.
Tinfoil hat. But overall, I think that I think that the obviously with his the choreography and the fight choreography is amazing because it's
As always.
seamless. And what you see is Jason doing what he does best, and he's one of those. When you watch action, as you know, I love martial arts, and I have forever. And
Hmm.
as long as we've known each other, I've been fascinated. Not just martial arts movies, but
Hmm.
I practice Aikido, I practice Kung Fu, I practice Qigong, Tai Chi,
Hmm.
things like this. So it sometimes you have to stop and think: are these just actors that are playing action figures and they're a martial artist? Were they trained just for this movie, or whether or not they're actually martial artists who then became a movie star and used
Hmm.
their skills to become Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee ended up with that dilemma. People
Hmm.
kept challenging him because they said, "Oh, you're just a movie star. You're just a movie
Hmm.
star. You're just a movie star." And then they
Right.
found out differently when they found his speed and his connection and what he's done. And
Right.
and this kind of a thing. Same thing with some of the other action stars.
Mm-hmm.
People did the same thing with Chuck Norris when
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Norris was the Walker Texas Ranger, and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize that Chuck Norris was a five-time karate champion, black belt karate
Right.
champion.
Right.
Forever and a day. In fact, when he was starting with Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee, and the scene that he was in the Coliseum, when he openly admitted in an interview, he says, I wasn't sure what I was walking into. I thought he was just a movie star. And then I realized that, yes, he is a
Mm-hmm.
kung fu master who
Mm-hmm.
happens to be a movie star.
Yeah.
And then he started learning from him as well. Like a lot of other stars, a lot of other karate masters and things like that did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Statham is a martial artist, and
Mm-hmm.
he became and utilized his skills to become a movie star, just like Jet Li.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
didn't know that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
So everything that you
Well,
see is for
and you can
real.
see it. I mean, it shows.
Yeah. It's not just choreographed. I mean, it's
Right.
choreographed, but is a choreographed scene with stuntman and a martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is a good thing. So it's kind of, they've even, you can see stories where Jason Statham has gotten into it off camera with people who tried to challenge him. So anyway, from that perspective, I think it's a really good action movie because you see a lot of good fight scenes. It's not just, hit him a few times, flip him a few times, do this, do that. You, from this perspective, from Jason Statham's perspective, you get to see his skill, you get to see his work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's seamless.
There's a high body count, as in most of the movies, but this one has an exceptionally high body count.
Well, and I think it, yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
in most
I
of
mean,
his
it
movies,
does,
yeah.
but I mean, the ones I think they deserved it, so it's
Well,
probably
when he was
fine.
the transporter, there was a high body count, but
Mm-hmm.
if you watch any of the transporter movies, I mean, not you've watched some of them with me, but
Mm-hmm.
anyone out there, if you watch the transporter movies, they're amazing. And the action is amazing. So when you look at that, even the progression through all of that, you see Jason. Jason's getting up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how Jason Statham. I don't know how old he is.
I think he's around my age, which,
Alexa, how old
yeah.
is Jason Statham? He's 57 years old.
Thank you.
Thank you. Isn't it nice to have
Well,
a
I'm not
digital assistant?
57. I'm
No,
not
you're not.
57 yet.
You're
I'm
not
not
57
yet.
yet.
I will be this year, but not yet. So,
You'll be 57 this year?
yeah.
57?
Okay, stop. Stop it. I'm going to cry.
You'll be 56.
No, I'm
No,
already 56.
we'll say 56. We'll say you're going to be
Okay.
56 again. So,
Anyway, I knew he was around my age. And so, yes, he's slowing down, and I totally get it.
but I will say that if you're a Jason Statham fan, you can watch this. But you'll be a little disappointed in some of the way it progresses. But it's an excellent movie. I think still it still
Yeah.
deserves. I mean, these guys were giving it. I mean, most of it. I think most of the ratings. You saw the ratings
They were
before I
high.
did.
They were like 4.5,
4.5 out of 5
4.75.
stars.
Yeah, I mean, they were almost 5 star.
It,
And it's not that it wasn't a bad. It would. And look, okay, if anything was a little bit less, a little below par, we'll say, it was like the story itself or the whatever. Nothing with him. He's still awesome.
I would
Like,
say the story and the screenplay,
yeah,
and I think part of that comes from you're adapting it from a book number one, and then is written by another individual, and then
right.
rewritten by another individual.
Right.
So
And you might lose some. I mean, I've never read the book, so I can't say. And God forbid I could never adapt a screenplay. I mean, I'm not saying anything like that. I just, you know, I enjoyed it. It was fine, but it just wasn't my favorite. But
it
it was
wasn't
great. I mean,
Beekeeper.
it wasn't Beekeeper or
Wasn't Beekeeper
Transporter,
or
but
Transporter.
I don't think that he. I mean, I don't. He's still awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, and some of it was still kind of the. I mean, to be honest, obviously, you see some of the same plot as he's had in several other
Hmm.
movies. So you will see that. It's just a different approach to that plot.
Yeah.
So from that, I respect it from that point of view
I
because
also, sorry, go ahead.
I say I respect it from that point of view because I think that you still get to see him work, uh, but it is a different angle,
Hmm.
a different angle. I mean, a slightly different
Yeah.
angle. So it's not like blueprint stamp. Do this.
No,
Do
there were still
one, two,
some,
three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see some.
there were still some differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think the only other thing I noticed was some of the actors, some of the, I don't know if there was extra, I guess it would be extras, not any of the ones that were like the, starring in it or in it a lot. I can't
Yeah.
think of words right now. Remember, I'm going to be 57. I can't remember words. Anyway, I guess it would be more the background people. I noticed a few times that they were almost looking at the camera. I mean, it seemed like maybe the level of acting wasn't,
Some of the extras and the background were kind of yeah.
yeah.
But
It, there was a few scenes where I'm like, okay, come on. Did nobody notice that? Did nobody see that?
yeah, but at the same time, a lot of those extras and actors was just there to
Yeah.
die.
Well, the one guy, I mean, there's one guy, one scene kind of late on that it was just him in the scene and he practically looked at the camera and I thought, how did they miss that?
Well, probably
It's just
because
him.
I would guess that they probably did it because obviously you have to set that up. You have to do a prosthetic. You have to, remember when I
Yeah.
had to go in and get a prosthetic because I was going to get my neck cut and I had to go in and have this
Yeah.
big thing made. And
And he kind of has that happen. So, yeah.
so that's probably why. That way they're not going to go, okay, go make another one. We got to shoot this
Right.
again. Give me 2 days. I'll be back.
I
So.
guess so. Yeah.
Overall, I think it's got a
Yeah.
great message. I think that it's worth seeing, even
Yeah,
at the $6 point. It's worth $6 to rent, and
for sure.
if you haven't seen it, and if you want to wait till it comes out and just check it out, it's still worth it, in my opinion. To at least check it out because if you're a Jason Statham fan, check it out. It's got a message in it. They left it open, in my opinion, for a possible part two.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah, I think they left it
I
open
don't,
for it.
I don't know.
I don't know whether or not they'll get one, but at least he
Yeah.
left it open for
But now that I know that was David Harbour, I mean, I was already I mean, he's so funny.
it. Yeah.
I mean, he's just funny. There are some funny parts in this too. I did giggle a little bit, you know. There's one character that I like probably 5 or 10 minutes in once I woke up. Um, Within 5 or 10 minutes, I wanted this one character to go. Like just this can be the first one. This could be the first body count.
Yeah.
Let's do this now. And that one waits till the very end, but whatever. So that's kind of hard. I know that's what the character was for, so it worked.
It worked.
I wanted that character to die.
She's
um,
definitely an antagonist.
oh,
Definitely
she
an
was awful.
antagonist.
She was awful. But again, his little girl, the daughter, the little girl that plays his daughter. Oh, I love her so, so
She's gonna go
much.
places. She'll go
Yes, she
places.
is.
I think she
She's
will. She'll
awesome.
be go
So
places.
for nothing else, watch it for that because this young lady will probably be a star.
So
Yeah,
our verdict. Watch it.
there you go.
Watch it. Watch it.
Watch it.
Like
Watch
that.
it.
What was that movie we watched? Look at it. Watch it.
There was that was where they're staying. The parents are staying.
In a haunted
They all
house.
meet for the first time, and it's a haunted house, and the guy gets possessed.
Yeah. So yeah. Look at it.
Look at
Yeah.
it. Look at it.
Watch it. Watch it. Okay. We gotta stop.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
is one more thing before we go. So you have any words of wisdom? Any special days other than
The
Father's Day? Or
Nash the National Calendar Day.
I always forget that
I know. I
National
don't know why.
Calendar
National
Day.
Calendar Day. So there's a few different ones, but so National Big Boy Day, which is based on Big Boy restaurants, which has been a favorite restaurant of mine since I was a kid.
I've
I used to
never been to
go.
one.
and you've never been to one, and it makes me so sad that you've never been to one, but there would be nothing you could eat there anyway. So anyway, well, you could maybe have a salad. But I used to go every summer to visit my relatives in California. Well, we lived in California when I was little too, so we used to go there then. But I always am like, okay, we're going to Big Boy. We're going to Bob's Big Boy. We're going to Big Boy. So it's National Big Boy Day. And the picture is making me really hungry. It's also interesting. I'm going to try to remember this for next year. Nature Photography Day. And that's my hobby, nature photography. And I never knew it had a special day.
Well,
So
hot
June
damn.
15th. I know. But the problem is we lived in Arizona. And so June 15th is always too hot. I'll have to figure that out. But I thought this is kind of a tie-in. It's National Megalodon Day, and Jason Statham was in The Meg about a megalodon.
Exactly. Megalodon
Oh,
shark, for those of you who don't.
yes, it's a big, gigantic shark, like the biggest species of shark ever. And I like The Meg. I like that movie, The Meg. Um, with a bite force of over 40,000 pounds per square inch, a maximum weight of over 60 tons, and serrated teeth measuring near 7 inches, their prey did not stand a chance.
That could eat a
Oh,
whale, man. That could eat a
it
whale.
can eat a boat.
Can eat a boat.
It can eat a boat.
Yeah, it can eat a boat.
Arrgh. Anyway, so I just thought it was kind of a weird
Hey,
tie-in.
I think we should find the megalodon, and I have some ideas of who could go on a boat, and we can test that theory. We can
I
see.
like it.
I like it. I
I
like it.
I don't hate that idea.
Maybe Jason can help us.
Yeah.
So we got to go before we do
Yep.
too much. People have a Father's Day to finish up, and I got a Father's Day to finish up as well. So once again, happy Father's Day to everybody. I know it's a little late in the evening, but we hope that you had a great one. Thank you very much to all the fathers out there who are a father, no matter which title you have. I think
Mhm.
that you're all important, and we love you all. So one more thing before you all go. Have a great day. Have a great week, and thank you for being here.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of One More Thing Before You Go. Check out our website at beforeyougopodcast.com. You can find us as well as subscribe to the program and rate us on your favorite podcast listening platform.